This article I'm about to read to you is one of those articles that's probably going to blow your mind. In fact, it's going to blow your mind so much. I'm going to read the first part of the article. Then I'm going to read one of the very first comments that I saw on the article so that you can see the response that this article is already generating, because this is very interesting. The writer starts out with the title, Xbox has become a Game Pass machine and nothing more. This is very interesting. Then they ask the question, because it's an opinion piece, is it enough to justify Microsoft's console over a costly gaming PC? Then they said the reasons for owning an Xbox Series X have dwindled to one compared to competing platforms. But can it still appeal to me? Interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a PC guy, and I'd love for all of you to come to PC. I'll give you what I think are the benefits of PC over a console anytime, any day. However, I don't think this writer... You know what? Let's read their opinion. They said, my opinion may seem irrational or even fanboyish. What a caveat. And I fully expect to see barrage of comments disagreeing with me, as well as a platoon of the internet's finest coming to agree. Console wars are something I left behind long ago because it all comes down to whatever the consumer wants out of your device. For some, this is personal, even intimate. That's weird. I don't think I'll put it that way, but hey, you do you. What I'm about to say reflects what I expect from my, in italicized text, console experience, not yours. That said, I know I'm not alone in these thoughts. Well, here's already where the problem is, because they already talked about their own console experience, right? But now they got to import, I'm not alone in these thoughts, and then tell you that thousands, if not millions of people are also asking this. Bruh, where did you find these millions of people that are asking these questions that you are asking? Because what I've realized lately is the small number of people on the internet that are talking about this stuff usually find themselves in different camps. Once in a while, you see a loud minority, but then once you start looking into the details, you'll realize that this so-called loud minority does not hold the opinion that what I think is a much general consensus we hold. In fact, the clearest and more recent example was that thread on subreddit that was talking about the quality of the recent Game Pass games compared to PlayStation Plus, and how these PlayStation Plus users, the ones that were replying, some of them seemed dissatisfied because PlayStation was not giving them anything close to what Xbox was giving their community. Unlike what you listen to on the internet, once you start hearing about Xbox just becoming a Game Pass machine, it is a huge contrast. This person then said, why should I buy an Xbox? And then here's where they basically dropped the ball. Seriously, is Game Pass tempting enough to convince anyone to buy Microsoft's console? They asked that question, then they loaded with another one, especially since subscriptions have been basically flat. Now, let me ask you, did you just not say that this reflects your experience, your console experience, not ours? Then if it doesn't reflect the console experience of everybody else, what has the number of Game Pass subscribers got to do with your console experience? They may be flat, they may be fat, or go splat, depending on what numbers you want to look at. But that should not affect your console experience. However, you're worried about who is not and who is subscribed to Game Pass. How does that inhibit your probability and possibility to play games that are of a wide variety, some online, some offline, that Game Pass offers for the value? This is where this article basically goes off the rail right as it starts. And believe you me, it gets really weird. They talk about some fanboy stuff, the health of the industry, and the likes of, going toe-to-toe with PlayStation and Sony's exclusive content, which is all on PC, as the writer will tell you later in the article. They said Microsoft had these studios, they created fantastic experiences, but it doesn't compare to something as iconic as Gears of War or Uncharted. They said Microsoft needed a real AAA creator at the helm, so when Xbox announced its acquisition of Activision and Blizzard, my eyebrows shot straight up. Now Xbox has ABK and Bethesda. Again, I didn't want to see franchises like Call of Duty or Diablo become exclusive on the Xbox platform, but I thought it would be a great way to acquire talent and studios that could supply other developers with help and creative assemblage. So what you're saying is Xbox should have basically acquired talent from studios who were making games that they weren't making. What? Then that would defeat the purpose of them actually having acquired those particular studios and publishers at the end of the day. Imagine going to acquire Bethesda to come teach your guys how to make RPGs when they make different RPGs at a different scale than Bethesda. It's just weird. Imagine telling, Activision to get in there and teach Coalition how to make a Halo game when Activision is all about the Call of Duty games. This article, I don't know what they're gunning at because it just feels weird to me. Then they said on top of that, all those titles will come from Game Pass. I wouldn't have to pay 60 or 70 or 80 after Microsoft's price increase on Call of Duty every year. I was going to play Diablo 4 as part of the Game Pass because that sounded awesome. Then here's where they went ahead and dropped the ball. Wow, they said, never in my wildest dreams did I consider that these acquisitions will lead to us losing exclusives altogether. Who is us? I thought you said this reflected your console experience and not ours. Who is us losing exclusives? Who lost anything? I'm just asking. Sure, you can say Starfield's too exclusive, but can you say with a straight face? Could you have looked me in the eye and told me, who is looking you in the eye? I thought this guy just came out to tell us that this particular article was a reflection of his own experience and not yours. Yet, all of a sudden, he's over here telling us that, oh, can you look me in the eye? Look at the subscriber count. You see, this is the problem that we have. Now, one of the first comments on this article, because once the article got published, I read it almost immediately. And believe you me, this response was very funny. This person said, 1, this is FJ Torres. All consoles these days require subscription of a kind or another to get everything the box can do, be it Game Pass or whatever. 2, 90% of game sales, right, are digital sales. And online pundits don't ever tire of claiming we don't actually own digital content. Well, is the choice $10 to $20 a month plus 70 to 80 bucks to not own a single game and $20 a month to not own 500 games? Well, we live in a consumer society. We pay our money and take our chances. We all get to choose how we waste our money. There's this false narrative, that's number 3, that all Xbox games are coming to PlayStation, when Spencer and co have made it clear that there will still be Xbox, and you should have said console exclusives, and more importantly, the Xbox games going over there are either vintage games, live service, or both. Some new games are coming as well, too. But a very important point that they made here, and I thought they really upended this whole thing, they said, it's almost as if pundits actually want Microsoft to pull from PlayStation franchises that have been multi-platform for decades, give up the high profits they generate, all to sell a few more low margin, in parentheses, or negative margin boxes. These consoles that lose money all the time. Microsoft loses up to $200 for every Xbox console sold. So this is what he's pointing to. He said, no, not gonna happen. Nobody spends billions to sacrifice profit-making products on the altar of dying gods of console warriors. And then, this is where I thought this person basically ripped this article apart. They said, an Xbox being a Game Pass box actually a bad thing? Says who? Somebody who gets to deduct the cost of games as a business expense? Or who uses a couple hundred game disc boxes to decorate the room? This is exactly what I've been telling y'all, ladies and gentlemen, that these pundits, talking heads and such that try to malign Game Pass, many of them have some kind of a business entity venture that they can pretty much file their game costs as a business expense. Whereas you, when you go and buy that game for $80 with post-tax dollars, you do not have that benefit. Uncle Sam is going to want every dime that you basically earned, it will want its own taxes from every dime that you earned without any expenses, while they've enjoyed the benefit of having the game. In some cases, they get the games, from the publisher for free. And then all of the benefits in terms of attention and in terms of clicks and in terms of all of this stuff comes their way without any problems. Yet they want you to go be paying $70 to $80 games while they talk smack about Game Pass. And then this person said, Xbox is a Game Pass box? Heck yeah! That's a good thing. It's called value. The worth of the box is measured by what you get for your money. Come back when somebody else gives us 8 to 12 day one releases in a year for $240. This is, in my opinion, something that is so funny that at the end of the day, when you think about it, you can already see how this particular article is just written either for rage bait or, in my opinion, somebody who tried to mask a console warring grudge as an opinion piece in the, in the papers. That's what they're trying to do. I gotta say, I'm already tired of these so-called console warriors that are hiding everywhere, that are upset that games are available to other people to play. Number one, I already hate exclusives. So number two, I'm already happy that the market is squeezing them out of their ecosystems. And number three, I'm happy that they're being exposed in many cases, as in some cases, overpriced games that are costing developers their sanity and their jobs, because they'll make them, right? They'll blow $300 on these particular, exclusives. And then when it comes down to it, they got to fire their developers to be able to cut costs. That's crazy. You're going to make an exclusive for hundreds of millions of dollars. And then when it comes time to it and the game is not selling as fast as you need to recoup your cost, guess what? You go ahead and can your own developers like they were doing when Insomniac was about to launch Marvel Spider-Man 2. See, if you guys love exclusives that much, go to PlayStation then. Go to PlayStation, play their exclusives, and pay $70 to $80 on PlayStation because you think Xbox is a Game Pass machine. Or, like he says in this article, and he finally admits that a PC would probably be a better way to go. Do you think that actually hurts Xbox? Do you really think that people going and moving to PCs actually hurts Xbox? This person that made a comment on your article just told you that no one's going to sacrifice profit-making products on the altar of loss-leading boxes because of console warriors. Xbox is not interested in doing that anymore. Neither is Sony. That's why they sold you the PS Plus at $700. This is probably, my opinion, the generation that's going to see a very interesting push. And as somebody said in the comment section, probably the last generation where consoles will be sold at a loss anymore. It's just not worth it. Gamers aren't buying that many new games anyways. So why would anybody want to go ahead and then sell for a big, huge loss, spend impressive amounts of money anyways, or incredible amounts of money to go ahead and make these games only for what? 6% of your console base to buy it, 7% of your console base to buy it. Insert God of War. Or 30% of gamers not to buy games at all and only play free-to-play games. I mean, did y'all even look at the data sets? Are these people even looking at data sets before they form? You have to form an opinion from a perspective that actually takes a lot of things into account. I read the article and I was just thinking to myself, man, this is just so weird. It's like this person woke up in 2023 when everybody was freaking out and wrote an article and then left it to publish in 2025. I'm just... You know what? I'll leave the link or whatever it is. In fact, you can go ahead and find it on Jess Gordon's whatever. I'll put the Twitter link so that you guys can see, bro. This is just so weird. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.